Goodman and Hummel podcast. I'm your host, Jeff Goodman. He is Robbie Hummel. And we got plenty to talk about today. We got a great guest, first of all, and it is the head coach of the number one Gonzaga Bulldogs, and it is Mark Few. So we will get to him in a little bit, Rob. But first, before we get to him, we got to talk about the big game that was Sunday, and it was Michigan at Ohio State. And I know you are a Big Ten guy. This was a statement. This was a statement for, I think, a Michigan team that, you know, frankly, I felt really good about. And you could see their talent. You could see they could score it. You could see they can defend. But I wanted to see it against a really good team, especially on the road. And they did that against Ohio State. They made plays. Every guy on their team made plays. That was the thing that impressed me, Rob, is it wasn't one guy. It was everybody.
No, I'm with you. I thought it was a statement, honestly, for both teams. I thought even though Ohio State loses and even though they ended the game, the behind-the-back pass, like there was some miscues for sure. But, man, they gave Michigan all they wanted. And they hung right there with them. And I just thought it was such a high-level game on both ends. Michigan is so talented. And I got hammered because I picked them. I said they could finish at the start of the year anywhere from like 6th to 12th. But I said that, and I'll defend myself because Mike Smith, total unknown. No idea how he's going to fit in. No idea how he's going to.
Nobody.
He shot so much at Columbia because he had to. Now he's taking open shots. He's making plays for other people. He's guarding. He's good. Sean D. Brown today, high level role player. Make shots, junkyard dog defensively. I just look at those two guys. Hunter Dickinson, highly ranked kid, knew he was talented, didn't think he'd be this. I was really surprised that Michigan played him on E.J. Liddell because I really thought you would see Livers guard him because I thought it would just, it's a better matchup. But Dickinson, for the most part, did a pretty good job. He lost him a couple of times, and Michigan played a good amount of 2-3 zone too. But, man, you're right. Every position made plays, made shots, and Michigan was on fire in the first half. They made 10 threes, and they cooled off in the second. But, I love Isaiah Livers. I love Franz Wagner. I think Hunter Dickinson is a great player. I love Michigan's length. Yeah, I just think when you look at the way they can guard you, and they can win in a track meet, they can win with their defense. They can win a lot of different ways. So I was really impressed with Michigan, obviously. But Ohio State, man, they're right there. They've other than playing Purdue, they've really had the answer for almost everybody in the Big Ten, not named Michigan. So Dwayne Washington was phenomenal, and I thought it was really funny. We were texting about what Holtman said about the "I love yous" before the game, and then tough conversations. Probably not too many tough conversations today. He was rolling, but both teams are really good.
He was fearless. He made big shots. Liddell was good. I just think, honestly, Michigan's a more talented team.
Yeah.
They are. They don't have to play their A game to beat Ohio State. I feel like Michigan clearly established itself as the third best team in the country today. But my big question is, how do they match up against both Baylor and Gonzaga? Not that bad. You said, Hunter Dickinson defensively, you worry about a little bit, closing out on E.J. Liddell. That's tough for him. He's 7 feet and that's not his game. But what Michigan did was early in the second half, they said, you know what? We're going to take advantage of on the other end. You can try to get him on the defensive end, but we're going to keep going to him. And they did. And I was just really impressed with, again, not only does he seal and he gets angles, it's to me, the guys that are throwing the low post entry passes are throwing them like Mike Smith, whoever it is. It was different guys, and they're getting him the ball exactly where he needs it, keeping it up high, no wasted motion, and it's easy for him.
I noticed that, too, about Dickinson today, of keeping the ball high so those guards can't come get it. It was the play where he missed, a layup and then missed a putback, and, the ball didn't come below his, heart. He kept – it was at his neck or higher the whole time.
Third putback.
Most bigs are bringing that thing down and some little 5'10" guards coming in there and taking it from you and embarrassing you. And he just, you're right. The way they feed the post, there's not many teams in college basketball that are proficient at all 4 positions to throw it into their big.
Right.
You know, it's a rare skill in today's game. And they got him the ball on time, on target, right where he wants it. And, you know, he's really talented. He's a really talented player.
All right. So can he, I think I know the answer to this from your perspective, but when you look at him compared to guarding Drew Timme, because that's what you're thinking right now is, can Michigan beat, they may not get to him, right? Gonzaga or Baylor, but I think they put themselves in a pretty good spot now. Unless they have a complete meltdown, they're probably going to get one of the number 1 overall seeds, so they can avoid those guys until hopefully the Final Four. If they get that far, how does Hunter Dickinson, because everybody else matches up pretty well. I mean, Livers on Corey Kispert. Listen,
I think Juwan Howard would feel good about that. And that's no disrespect to Corey Kispert. I just think he thinks that highly of Isaiah Livers as a defender. Yeah, Timme probably scares you because he can drive you and he's nimble and quick. You know, I think I'll start with Baylor, and you didn't ask about Baylor, but I think that those are the 2 best teams. Baylor, the matchup, I think is again pretty good for Hunter Dickinson. He's going to see Flo Thamba. He's going to see Jonathan Chalmachachua. The concern there is Baylor's big guards and their physical guards.
Yeah,
that would be the concern. Definitely. Jared Butler, you're worried about that. And then with the Gonzaga, you're worried about Timme in the front court. But I don't think I would look at it where it's like, you know, if E.J. Liddell's not going to absolutely expose him, and Drew Timme's a great player, don't get me wrong.
Well, he can't shoot it like that.
He can't shoot the ball like E.J. Liddell can to spread him. So I think you worry about him driving it, but you also have to understand there's a 7-footer coming after you from behind to contest that too. Like, it's not, you know, he's got good size and length. And I really think that Michigan firmly belongs in the conversation with Baylor and Gonzaga.
Yeah, I think they've proven that now. Again, I think I was very hesitant early, as were you, because they hadn't beaten a lot of really good teams. It's really impressed me coming off the pause, and they were smart. They didn't rush back from the pause. They took their time and said, we're going to play when kind of we're ready. We're going to take a couple extra days to make sure that we're going to protect our investment, what we've already built up, our equity, and that has certainly worked out. So listen, I'm with you. I think Michigan's clearly the number 3 team. And, you know, we'll see what happens now with Baylor coming back off their pause. They could absolutely slip up here down the stretch. And maybe Michigan, if they run the table and win the Big Ten tournament, which is a lot to ask. Let's face it. That is a lot to ask out of Michigan. They got Michigan State twice. Not that Michigan State's great, but they're playing better. So listen, that was probably the best game of the season, Rob.
Totally.
So well played.
Shot making, effort,
great coaches,
rivalry, coaching, everything combined by far. There has not been a better game played than what we saw.